So, as you can see, I have the infamous white box here. So we're just know it's going to be something good. That was a pain to actually open up the box. But yeah, and here it is. The wing. No, it's got retracts. I mean, looks pretty nice, first off the bat. Let's get everything out. I mean, it looks pretty solid. I mean, look, the fuselage right there. Honestly, it doesn't look bad. Got the little EDF in there. I mean, I'll unwrap it all, and I'll get it all out of its stuff, and I'll oh look, there's a canopy with a pilot as well. But yeah, what I'll do, guys, is I'll unwrap it and everything, and I'll show you as it is out of the box. So I'll see you in a minute. So I have got everything out of the box. I haven't took everything out of the plastic covers yet, but I just thought I'd lay it out to show you what it roughly looks like before being built. Looks relatively simple to put together, just some foam and some screws, by the looks of it, especially by this little bag of parts, some screws, some joints, servo arms, and some plugs and sockets and wires. And but yeah, so this plane, this Vampire by Durafly, is a twin boom airplane, which means it's basically got its elevator in one area. But yeah, so it has got an elevator in the back. I thought you would have to use elevons, but turns out you don't. It doesn't have a rudder, so it probably is bank and yank, which is basically where you bank the plane with the ailerons and then you yank it with the elevator to make it turn quite steep, but you can still get it to turn quite docile anyway. But yeah, so inside of the fuselage is the EDF. But yeah, not much to really say yet, because it's not really put together. I mean, you've got the ESC, which controls the throttle of the EDF and that, so yeah. Right, I'll put it together, guys. I'll put this on a little time lapse and I'll see you in a minute. So as you know, I'm a little bit impatient, so I thought I'd just servo check on the landing gear, and as you can see, they do work, and I think they even lock in, because I keep hearing a little click and these don't move up, so which is quite good. These are servoless retracts, which means they don't require anything else, they're just up and down straight away. But yeah, no, pretty cool. I'll literally stop messing around now and just get the rest of this unpacked, and I'll see you in a minute, guys. Quick update, guys. I've now attached the wing. I'm just attaching one of the booms. As you can see, the glue's still trying to set. I'm using UHU foam glue. It's pretty good stuff. I recommend it. But yeah, so I'm just waiting for the glue to dry. I mean, the wing won't be so bad because it's quite tightly packed in, so the glue inside doesn't really matter. It's more about this, because this will help give it a lift during flight, so it's quite critical that that sticks on correctly, and at the back too. Otherwise, if this doesn't stick properly, it won't go down too well. But yeah, so quick update there, and I'll see you in a minute. Another quick update, I've got this wing glued on with that boom glued on. Now I'm just doing the other one with the elevator on, because there's a wire going through this boom all the way to the servo in that elevator. So I've got to glue kind of all three together at once. And then once those two bits, well, three actually, one, two, and then I've got to glue that on still, so that'll be the third. But that will be the easiest, just put some glue in and then shove the wing in. This is dried up nicely, so yeah, the canopy's ready. And then hopefully after that, and it's just the wiring to do, and then just setting up the servo and then transmitter, hopefully. So I'll see you in a minute, guys. So guys, I have completed the assembly of the plane. Oh, it wasn't too bad to assemble and put together. it was just like I said a minute ago, the booms were quite hard to stick on, so I used some matchsticks, not matchsticks, some little toothpicks or little skewers, what you'd use for like cocktail sausages or whatever. Those, I'll just shove them into the foam here and at the back there, and then I push this in and then put my foam glue on. Then on top of that I put some really strong tape on, because in my opinion there's not much security on the booms, so I just wanted to be safe really. And then I did the same for the underneath of it. The back of it, you're alright with some foam glue, to be honest with you. It's yeah, that'll be fine, to be honest, but just be careful when doing, I've been told, I haven't flown it yet, but I've been told that if you do silly stunts with it, it will, the back will rip off if you're not careful, so yeah. Overall, my first thoughts of it, I like it. I think the colour scheme looks nice. Just the general, like, looking in front of it looks quite nice, with the air intakes as well. And yes, they do go straight inside. That's mainly to help cool the EDF down, as they need a certain amount of airflow for them to stay operational. But yeah, I've set this thing up already. I've got the centre of gravity check done already, which is around, I was told, around 295 millimeters from the nose. So yeah, so it's any point. There's a 2 millimeter gap between. I'll do this with the landing gear up, by the way. But it's the 2 millimeter gap between the gear hole here and the end point of this boom. But yeah, but always do your CG check with your landing gear up if it is a plane that has retracts. So yeah, because it just helps with the weight, because the weight's being distributed down if they're down, so it's better if they're up to help actually compensate everything. But yeah, I've heard you can do funny mods with this and stuff. You can, I don't know, make flaps with these. I guess you cut very carefully down here and then add a servo in and then channel that through a tunnel inside. Personally, I think that's quite cool. I may do that in the future. All you need is a couple of light servos, very small ones at the least, just these ones like out of a Riot, just 9-gram servos, very simple and easy ones. So yeah, so I might do that in the near future. I haven't actually sorted out the electrics yet, but just to keep it standing still for a minute and on the ground and stuff. So make sure you've got a battery or an adapter on your battery to suit that. And then yeah, that's really it basically. But that's it for the build. In my honest opinion, the landing gears are a bit small, but I don't know, we'll have to see, to be honest with you. But I do like the little vampire face on the front of it, very intimidating. But yeah, not much else to say apart from that, guys.
Coming soon.
Okay.
Looks like it's coming soon. C on this stuff. Yeah, it does. You alright, Steve?
Hi guys, welcome back. After a successful maiden flight, as you may have seen, my overall summary about this plane: it flies pretty well, it glides quite well, it does float in the air quite well. If you stall it, it's easy enough to recover, but just be careful how high you are, because that's always a thing when stalling these, because your height really does depend on whether you'll save it or not. However, this plane flies great. Just a few key notes to touch upon. If you do crash this in the long grass, you can just arrow dive the landing gear back in, but what I do recommend is, if you do get this plane, basically just, as you'll see, I changed 2 screws in the landing gear here. So what you want to do is take 2 of these screws out, preferably the ones that I'm looking at now, but it would be these 2 here. Change them to longer ones, because when I looked, these screws, when I was at the field and I looked, the screws in there didn't actually go very far into the wood, and then one of these popped out, so I put some arrowdite in and glued it back in, and it's pretty strong in there now. And the nose, I may have kind of crashed it a little bit today on its first flight, but anyway, if this does break off inside, basically just arrowdite it back in, get it relatively straight. I mean, mine isn't, as you can see, but it still does retract in, but I do recommend only using the retracts in the summer if you have a grass field anyway. If you have a grass field, wait till the summer, till the ground's quite hard and smooth, so that you can use the retracts, as in the winter when it's quite soft and bumpy, I would just belly land it like I did today, because it's just not worth ripping the undercarriage to shreds. So yeah, but it does take off on the grass, just not very well. It does land on the grass, but if it's in the summer, you can use retracts or belly land it, it just is up to you. But just remember to arrowdite the retracts in, as they're not very strong inside. And another thing to touch upon is the booms. Make sure you just put some, I've already said this already, but just a reminder again, make sure you properly reinforce these on, because they're not held on by much once you glue these in. So put some little skewers in, and then poke these in, and then put foam glue on the outside, inside, and then on the sides here, just so that you've got a very secure boom on your wing, and then you're not too worried, and then it won't come off in flight. This does do acrobatics to a certain extent. Don't go and do 3D flying or insane tricks with it, because you will rip the booms off or the elevator off if you're not careful. But you can get away with some rolls. This does roll quite quickly. You can do a loop. I haven't done it yet, but you can do them. Just be very careful, otherwise you could rip the booms off if you're not careful. And also with the control horns, on the control surfaces, make sure you just foam glue these on, like either side, just so that they're tightly on and they don't fall off, because they are also quite loose when you screw these in. But overall, this plane isn't bad. Like I said, also I had to shave a bit of foam off to properly fit this in with my battery. But the centre of gravity, I've got it here, like right in front here, and this is on a 2.2 mAh 4-cell LiPo, and that's where the centre of gravity is, and it's not bad. It's perfect for the plane, really. If you're using a 3000 mAh one, don't know where it is, it will probably be roughly just a bit back from that, between the edge of the landing gear hole here, so between here and there, or a bit below, behind there. I'm not sure, but you'll have to... I never even got an instruction manual of this, but I found a manual online. If you do have one of these but you couldn't find a manual, it's easy enough to type up. Just type in EDF Vampire and scroll down a little bit and you'll see the PDF manual. Follow it roughly step by step, but if you have people with recommendations who had past experience on it, go with their advice, because it will usually, if someone has past experience on it, it will help. If you want to know what, all of that, just check in the description below, or if you want to know more, comment down below and I'll just answer these questions. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I mean, I've still got to do a couple of bit of touch-ups on the nose here, but yeah, it's not been a bad day. I've flown it about 3 or 4 times today, because the batteries are quite hard to charge up at the field, because they just take forever sometimes. But I've got a few good flights in today with it. I'm pretty pleased with it. For the price of the plane, it's not bad to start off with an EDF with. It's got a lot of thrust in it for an EDF as well. I mean, I've seen other EDFs that people own and they take forever to take off. This one isn't too bad. But yeah, hand launch it in the winter though, just to save your undercarriage. But yeah, anyways, thank you for watching today's video. I know I've rambled on a bit, but if you do have interest in this plane, then it is a video for you. So yeah, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.